There was a time when driving was a pleasure, when a sports car was a machine to be driven rather than simply to pose in traffic jams. But those days are long gone. Or are they? Not for the 25 teams taking part in the Grand Tour, they're not. Created over 20 years ago as an antidote to the traffic jam, the Grand Tour is a celebration of driving that recreates motoring adventures of a bygone era, when what mattered was the journey, not the destination. And what a journey it is. 5 days and 1,000 miles from London to Monte Carlo. And this year, the Luxury Channel came along for the ride. Coming up in the programme, we'll be meeting some of the characters who take part, enjoying overnight stops in historic chateau hotels, tackling some of the finest driving roads in Europe, hunting cryptic clues in medieval villages, and joining the teams as they cross the finish line in Monte Carlo. Oh, and we'll also be finding out what it takes to win.
I'm going to cheat quite a lot, but it's going to be subtle.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So here we are, it's 25 to 8 on Sunday morning, and we're about to start. So this is the whole crew gathered for breakfast here at the Bluebird on the King's Road, and in half an hour we're going to flag everyone off the line and start the event. We don't look at the Grand Tour as being really a motoring event, we see it as being much more a social event. It's kind of a 5-day party on wheels.
And who better to set the party off than confirmed Francophile Sir Terence Conran. The Grand Tour was originally conceived back in 1985 as a novel way to raise money for charity. And over the years, almost £2 million has been raised for good causes.
It's not a race and it's not a rally, it's a treasure hunt. So the idea is that each day the teams take a specific pre-designed route and we set cryptic clues for them to answer along the way. And we have very long lunches and generally have a good time.
By definition, anyone taking part in this madcap event is likely to be one wheel short of a tricycle, and this year is no exception. They're a diverse bunch from farmers and bankers to lawyers and hoteliers. Some are old friends, others are couples, and a few are even fathers and sons. But what unites them all is the spirit of adventure and the love of the open road. The first leg is from London to Dover, and along the way the teams must answer a series of brain teasers and general knowledge questions, although in truth these are usually answered by more intelligent friends at the other end of a telephone. But by the time they arrive at the ferry terminal, the controversy has already begun.
Here we go.
Marvellous.
The clues sheet today was quite interesting. There's been a bit of a dispute and some official complaints have gone in about one of them, which was what is the largest roundabout in Europe? And apparently lots of people have written the Arc de Triomphe, which we think might be right, but then if you go on different websites it says things like reputedly it's a roundabout in Stirling, or allegedly it's a roundabout in Wales. So complaints have gone in as to, you can't keep saying reputedly, and it's got to be the definitive, what is the largest roundabout? I'm going to cheat quite a lot, but it's going to be subtle.
The ferry journey to Boulogne gives the old hands a chance to suss out the competition, the Romeos to identify the Juliets, and the first-timers to wonder what exactly they've let themselves in for. Every morning, the teams are issued with a sheet. On one side are their turn-by-turn directions to the hotel, and on the other are 4 or 5 cryptic clues, the answers to which will be found somewhere along the route. Each question is worth between 5 and 25 points, and the team that's earned the most number of points over the 5 days is the winner. Collusion, bribery and chicanery are all actively encouraged. The countryside of northwestern France is characterized by huge open landscapes. And from the port of Boulogne, this year's route takes us due south across the vast farmlands of Picardy and Normandy. To all intents and purposes, France shuts on Sundays, and so finding somewhere for even a pit stop lunch was a struggle. But after a modest salad and a plate of charcuterie washed down with a well-earned beer, it was time to hunt down the next cryptic clue.
Okay, so here we are on day one, and we feel that at the beginning of this event, it's important to keep the questions relatively simple. So I'm going to tell you the answer to this. The question is, which sailor will greet you on the road between Dieppe and Paris? And if you look over my right shoulder, you'll see it says Rue de Dieppe, and if you look over my left shoulder, you'll see it says Rue de Paris. So the answer is somewhere in between the two. And if you look very subtly behind you on the wall, you'll see a very well-known sailor.
That was Rue de Paris,
Marie, yeah,
Rue de
exactly.
Dieppe, so it was here and then...
And then the Eagle Eye girls got it.
If in doubt, cheat.
Yeah.
Or if that fails, just bribe an organizer. The Abbaye de Cernay, set in the magnificent forest of Rambouillet, just 30 miles from Paris, is the quintessential Grand Tour hotel. It has great rooms, excellent food, and an accommodating barman who can be persuaded to stay open till dawn. Founded in the 12th century by monks from Burgundy, the Abbey has a rich and dramatic history. Having been abandoned after the 100 Years' War and again after the French Revolution, it wasn't until Nathaniel Rothschild bought it in the late 19th century that it was restored to its former glory. 30 years ago, it was converted into a hotel, and today it remains a haven of tranquility, except when the Grand Tour's in town. Every day starts with the driver's briefing, when the bleary-eyed competitors, generally the worse for wear after a night spent trawling the wine cellar, pretend to listen while Jeremy, the event's creator and spiritual headmaster, reminds us of the importance of sun cream and safe driving.
Okay, the clues are here.
Somewhere in this chateau is a bundle of cork.
And after a remedial coffee and a cursory glance at the day's unfathomable clues, it's time to hit the road. Finding interesting places to set cryptic clues is all part of the meticulous planning process, and Château de Chamarolles, a 16th century castle complete with moat and drawbridge, gave us endless opportunities for some devious questions. The chateau is most famous for its fabulous perfume museum, which traces the history of perfume over the past 500 years. But it's also home to a lovingly restored Renaissance garden.
We're here at this fabulous Chateau de Chamarolles, where we've got 3 questions for everyone. One of the questions involves the fabulous display of roses here. The question is...
Which rose will get you legless? So I'm looking for the Douglas Bader rose.
And the answer is a rose called Long John Silver.
Did he have one leg?
Yeah, it's a peg leg.
He did. You sure?
But it wasn't spelt like that.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
That's what he means.
Oh, aren't you clever?
We've got all 3 clues. All 3. On to our next one. Yep. Yeah, we're off. We've done well today. We've actually put on now. Yesterday was a little bit lateral thinking, but today
We
we're doing
understand
well.
where they're coming from.
Just.
They're a great bunch of people, which is really nice. Everyone's helping everybody, which is really good. There's no sort of fiendish scuttling off with your clues hidden away. Everyone's like, oh, I found it, I found it.
No, there's some of that.
Not by you.
After a challenging 250-mile drive south, meandering through the rich and fertile valleys of Burgundy, past some of the most famous French appellations, teams arrive at tonight's hotel, Château de Pizé, set in the ancient Beaujolais vineyards of Morgon. Pizé's history dates back almost 1,000 years, and for much of that time the chateau has produced its own wine from the 60 hectares surrounding the chateau. Before dinner, a few of the competitors set off for a tour of the vineyards in the hotel's own helicopter. As usual, day 3 started with another hangover and another driver's briefing.
Much shorter day today, you'll be very glad to know. We've arranged a fantastic chateau lunch. It'll be a lovely lunch, chilled rosé and everything. If you are going to have more than a glass, please designate a non-drinking driver. Have a lovely day. We'll see you at the lunch.
By day 3, the competition is hotting up, and it's already becoming clear who has their sights on the title and who has a different agenda, like the next lunch. But for everyone, the highlight of the event is probably the route, which is painstakingly plotted to keep the teams out on deserted country roads away from busy towns and the dreaded traffic jam. C'est la vie. And after all that excitement, it's time for lunch.
We're hosting a party, a very unique party, 5-day party on wheels. These people are our guests, they're our friends, but every year there's somebody new, you know, a couple of new people hear about it. It's totally word of mouth. You know, you hear about this event, you say, that sounds exciting, I'd love to do it. But actually, it's only when you do it that you understand how unique it is.
The attention to detail is just superb. I think some of the places that we've been to, you would never ever find. Just years of experience, just, you know, it's great.
The fun thing about this event is the people and the extraordinary mix of people that in any other circumstance would never come together.
Yeah.
But either they're complete francophiles or petrolheads or sort of obsessive clue solvers or something like that, and that's why they come.
And that's it. And people come back year after year. I mean, for somebody to want to do this year after year after year, it's saying a lot about the event.
Coming up in part 2, we'll be journeying southeast into Provence and stopping for the night in one of France's most famous villages, finding out about some of the cars taking part and crossing the finishing line in Monte Carlo. In part 2, we'll be climbing high into the Alpes Maritimes for a picnic, searching for answers in the cobbled streets of Mougins, taking the checkered flag in Casino Square, and finding out who's managed to cheat their way to victory. As the Grand Tour heads southeast across France, every day we experience dramatic changes in scenery. But nothing that's gone before prepares you for the sheer drama and timeless elegance of Provence. Well, that's what it says in the tourist guide anyway. But you know what? Even after 20 years driving through here on the Grand Tour, the hilltop villages, the lavender fields and the deserted roads that snake their way through the mountains are still just as intoxicating as ever. A regular port of call for the Grand Tour is the medieval hilltop village of Gordes, and one of our favourite hotels, the Bastide de Gordes. Built into the old ramparts, this spectacular 40-room hotel is made up of a series of terraces with views that stretch out across the Luberon Valley. Time seems to pass a little slower here, so it seemed fitting that we should get the teams here early, in plenty of time to make a few running repairs, flirt with the competition, and enjoy a bottle or three of Provençal rosé. And so to dinner. As if you haven't already guessed, food is an integral part of the event, and the menus each night are designed to reflect regional specialities and locally sourced ingredients. And casting aside any concerns for tomorrow's early start, several teams have taken the opportunity to acquaint themselves fully with the hotel's extensive cellar. However luxurious the hotels or jaw-dropping the views, the hard-fought competition waits for no man or woman. So the teams are up bright and early to plan their assault on day 4 of the event. Today's challenging route will take them east along the floor of the Luberon and then up the tortuous hairpin bends into the Alpes Maritimes and beyond to the Riviera.
I would definitely do this again. It's great fun and everybody's relaxing, everybody seems to be having a good time.
We felt confident, but our confidence got dashed this morning when we knew we weren't anywhere near the top.
I'm not even in the top 5. Graham played poker last night and won some money, so I think that's probably why everybody's simply furious with us. Because of that. Oh, that's my feeling.
This year's fantastic because actually everyone's been mixing up and making a point of not being in cliques, so it's wonderful. You meet new people, then you go off, you meet up again, and it all gets mixed up. And I just had a phone call to say there's lavender up there, so we're off now.
We're off now, lavender. On.
And look at this scenery, just to die for, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Oh, it's just
incredible.
The company, the people, it's just so nice. It's just really a lovely trip. It's a great leveller, this particular thing, and it's particularly well organised and put together. So I think that's one of its great attributes. And it's rightly called the Grand Tour, and I think it deserves that accolade.
I just think it's a sort of one-off experience, and until you actually do it for yourself, it's difficult to grasp how good it could be.
As usual on the Grand Tour, food is never far from our thoughts, and with blue skies and breathtaking mountain scenery, a picnic is the order of the day. After an hour or so lazing around in the sun, it's just a short blast along the Route Napoleon to the last hotel before Monaco, Chateau Taulaine, in the pine-covered hills above Grasse. This 18th century chateau is home to one of the finest golf courses in France. And while there's little time to make use of it, at least it provides a picturesque backdrop as the teams unwind with a cold beer on the terrace before dinner, swapping exaggerated stories of the day's adventures. It also gave me a chance to catch up with an old friend and previous winner of the event, who likes to think he knows a thing or two about cars.
So this is an Audi R8, but this is a totally sorted sports car. Four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive with a wheel absolutely at each corner. The thing I don't like about this car are the disco lights. You know, there's little beaded lights around the headlights. Yeah. You need a pole in there and a couple of pole dancers. No. All it needs is...
Pole dancers. Maybe there's something in that for next year.
Good morning. This is our last day, run into Monte Carlo, and those people that haven't done that before, that it really is kind of the highlight of the event. It's been a fantastic week. We're really happy. We've had fantastic weather, fantastic people, and everybody's happy. A lot of people have made great friends. Everybody's been very complimentary, and really this day is all about arriving in Monaco. Arriving in Casino Square is, for a lot of people, it's the end of actually what is quite a big challenge.
I've done this before. I did this in 2000 in a Ferrari, and it's a completely different experience to doing it in this car. There's more competition. You know, there's obviously people who do drive, you know, in a slightly more competitive way when they're in faster cars, and so you take the whole competition a lot more seriously. You arrive at the end of the day a bit jangly, you know, having really tested the car, whereas in this you arrive in very good shape. The fact is it's very quiet and comfortable and it's got tons of torque. And it's a very easy car to cruise in, really. We're not keeping up with the Ferrari 599s and the Super Americas and the Barchettas and all that stuff. They're in a completely different league.
The competition on the final day takes a new twist. Instead of setting the cryptic clues along the route, we instead take the teams to a village where all the answers can be found on foot. This year we chose Mougins, one of the most famous villages in the south of France, where Pablo Picasso lived and worked for many years. The answer to each of the 11 questions was a single-digit number, which together made a phone number.
Because the people that phone in their answer first get the most number of points, it's a bit of a race. So some people are doing very well, some people are getting very stressed.
That was round the other side.
Thank you.
Why didn't you go there? I can't remember what it was called.
What?
Moulin.
Hello.
Everyone is panicking now because the first 6 callers have come in.
It's round here. Let's do the route this way.
It's a bit like being a schoolboy back at this, isn't it? And being taught by somebody you really dislike.
Yeah. So can we swap the 7 for 4? 7 for 10. Yeah. You didn't see that.
This is very tight because there's 10 points between the first team and the second team. And if the first team come anywhere in the top 10, getting this answer right, they've won it.
But in time-honoured Grand Tour tradition, the competition is never allowed to get in the way of a good lunch. Monaco's connection with cars and motor racing stretches back almost as far as the motor car itself. As long ago as 1898, races were being held on the dusty roads between Nice and nearby La Turbie. Until the mid-19th century, the area of Monaco we know today as Monte Carlo was orange and lemon groves. But the transformation of this area into a playground for Europe's aristocracy was to be the making of Monaco, and today Casino Square is still at its beating heart. The magnificent casino is flanked on one side by the Café de Paris and on the other by one of the finest hotels in Europe, the Hotel de Paris. This palatial hotel is synonymous with the style and glamour of a bygone era, but it's lost none of its charm and elegance from the Riviera's heyday in the 1920s. So where better to finish the Grand Tour than here, with a champagne reception on the terrace of the Hotel de Paris overlooking Casino Square. After 5 days, dozens of cryptic clues and 1,000 miles under blue skies, that's almost it for another vintage year. While most of the 25 cars had a trouble-free run, there was just one terminal breakdown. You'd be forgiven for thinking it was one of the old Astons, or perhaps even the E-Type. But no, that honour went to a 1-year-old Ford GT, whilst the oldest car in the entry, the 1956 Gullwing Mercedes, didn't miss a beat.
It's wonderful. It's just so glamorous. It's so sort of 50s style. It's magic. It matches the car perfectly.
The cryptic clues are designed to be nothing more than an amusing distraction from the more serious business of driving and partying. But this year's competition has been unusually hard fought. As the teams cross the finish line, no one's quite sure where they've come, but they don't have long to wait. All will be revealed at tonight's prize-giving party. For the winners, there are gold medals and glittering prizes. And for the losers, well, there's always next year.
All seem to have enjoyed it. We've had great weather, great hotels, great clues, and you really have been a great lot of contestants. Thank you very much for that.
And the winners of the Tailpipe Charlies this year are undoubtedly the most stylish team here. In last place, it's Martin and Maria. Okay, second place, it was very, very close. It was right down to the wire. It is Nick and Mark. which means there can be only one winner. Victor, David, congratulations. First prize to you guys.